Hello everyone. In today's video, we are going to look at the 2023 predictions for Sagittarius moon or Dhanu Rashi. Moon is here, which is why you are called as Sagittarius moon or Dhanu Rashi. Okay. And for evaluating the 2023 predictions, we are going to look at three factors. What are those factors? One is the Saturn transit, the second is the Jupiter transit, and the third is the Rahu Ketu transit. For those who are not aware of Rahu Ketu are shadow planets. Saturn takes 2.5 years to cross a house. Jupiter takes 1 year approximately. Rahu, Ketu take 1.5 years approximately. Other planets like Moon, Sun, Mercury, Mars, Venus, they take far less time, which means the opportunity for such planets to create a bigger or a lasting impact is relatively lower, which is why we are considering these three transits alone. And Indian astrology does not take into account outer planets like Pluto. I'm giving this because those who are seeing this video, could be people who are not familiar with Indian astrology that much, right? So coming to 2023, these three transits are taking place at different points in time. I'm going to come to that when it's going to happen. Before that, a word about 22, right? Uh, Dhanu Rashi or Sagittarius moon has been going through this 7.5 Saturn. When Saturn traverses between 12, 1, and second position, right? All three transits are challenging, and second transit is more challenging, though people feel that the transit over moon is the most challenging phase. I consider the second house transit to be the most challenging because from second, Saturn aspects the eighth house, right? And eighth house is always problematic because it talks about shame, fear, transformation, suddenness. If change happens very suddenly in our lives, and let's say it is a negative change, how many of us can handle such a thing in life? Unless you are someone who is not attached to the material aspects of life, sudden negative change is very very difficult to handle, which is why the second house Saturn, the transit of Saturn in the second house is the most challenging in the 7.5 period, right? You have crossed that. You're almost at the fag end. In fact, Saturn is currently at about 28 degrees. Just another 2 degrees and Saturn will be out of your second house, right? That is the good news. So you have suffered a lot and you can look forward to a period of tranquility, of recovering things in life, at least to some extent, right? So what is the first transit? The first transit is on 17th Jan 2023 when Saturn moves from second to third house. This is a huge relief and you will get to rebuild your lives. Prosperity will start coming into your life, at least to a limited extent. Many of you will be able to save something, right? Many of you would have lost jobs, lost means of livelihood, lost businesses, and now is the time to recoup and start rebuilding lives. If the loss is in the form of human lives, it is, you can't get it back, right? So if it is a case of monetary loss, business, job loss, you can get it back, you can rebuild your life, right? So many of the Dhanu Rashi people are going to get married, if you are in that particular age group, will get a good job, can expect a promotion. All those positive things can happen. The extent of positive things will depend on your natal horoscope, right? The strength of the horoscope will decide whether the good things will be limited or it's going to be more, right? So the Saturn transit is hugely positive. Okay, so the question that is there in many of Sagittarius people is, will I start seeing improvement immediately from January? The answer to that question is you need to wait a little longer, right? Okay, you need to wait maybe another 2 months or so. There are two factors or two causes to this. The first is Saturn is a slow moving planet. It is just coming out of second house, right? By the time it comes into third house, settles down, it takes a little longer, right? That is one aspect. The second aspect is Jupiter is in the fourth house. In the month of February and March, Saturn is going to get combust. That means Saturn goes very close to Sun. Any planet, if it gets combust, it loses its characteristics. We need all the planets in our lives. All the planets contribute to our human existence. Okay. So if one planet loses its characteristics, even if it is for a brief period, it causes problem. So in the month of February, if you really see, Saturn gets combust, right? In the month of March, Jupiter gets combust, right? Combustion, right? Something gets burnt. So if you go close to the fire, it will get burnt, right? You will get burnt. That's what is happening to the planets. It's not that the planets are getting burnt, but the planets' characteristics are getting burnt. So we need to look at this metaphorically. Okay, which is why I say that you hang on till March. Come April, Jupiter also moves out of fourth house. Though fourth house is good, though Jupiter is your lagna, is your Rashi lord, fourth house is not all that great position for Jupiter compared to fifth house. Fifth house any day is good, and fifth house is the house of intelligence, creativity, right? And Jupiter from fifth house, we look at the ninth house of luck. This is Purva Punyasthana, that is the good deeds you have done in past lives. The result of that will come through the fifth house. Ninth house is Bhagyasthana. All the luck that you experience in this life is through the ninth house. Okay. From fifth house, Jupiter will also see, and 11th is the house of gains, and he will also aspect your Rashi, the own house. This is hugely positive. Okay. And why people give so much importance to Jupiter? The key word for Jupiter is expansion. We can give one word or two words for each and every planet. Like that, we can assign the word expansion to Jupiter. Wherever Jupiter sees, Jupiter will expand. The other word is benefic aspect, right? It is a good aspect. So from fifth house, it will expand your luck factor. It will expand your gains. What will it expand? It will expand the optimism. If you are optimistic, you can handle anything in life. Okay. In fact, for success in life, the necessary condition is optimism. So Jupiter is going to expand the optimism in your life. What more do you want? And you are coming out of a dark 7.5 period, right? Saturn is also giving you light. He switches off the darkness. By that act, it gives you, light. And Jupiter is, bestowing its light, divine light on you. So this is an extremely good period starting from April. Okay. And I will say April and May, if you really see, Jupiter gets very close to Rahu. Jupiter gets very close to Rahu. So until May, until mid-June, things will be touch and go. Okay. Things will be touch and go. But starting from June, I will say it is a hugely beneficial period. So 2023, I can divide between Jan to March, right? Then April to May, then June to September, then October to December. This is how I will divide. This period of June to September is hugely positive. Okay, unbelievably positive, right? Does it mean that other periods are less positive? Relatively lower, that's all. Nothing big to worry. It's not like your 7.5 days when Saturn travels through your first house, 12th house, and second house. No, it's not like that. The positiveness will be little lower. January, March, you are just rebuilding, right? You're just recovering. April, May, you're kind of settling down. Then, things become positive from June onwards. What is the problem in October to December? The problem is Rahu goes to fourth house. That is not a problem area. But Ketu goes to the 10th house. Okay, what is the problem with Ketu? Ketu is a spiritual planet. We are all living a materialistic life. We want money, we want fame, we want recognition, right? We want cars, we want bungalows, we want high positions, we want people to listen to us. All these are characteristics of materialistic life. Spiritual life, it is a true spiritual life. Please understand. Who is a true spiritual person? True spiritual person will live in, mountainous places like Himalayas. A true spiritual person, right? You have to go in search of that person. Because true spiritual person doesn't worry about, whether you listen to, him or her, right? That is the kind of effect you can have with Ketu. Truly spiritual. And how does Ketu bring spirituality? By loneliness, right? Loneliness, frustration are characteristics of Ketu. Nothing happens, right? Nothing happens. When Saturn is operating in a particular area, let's take profession now, because that's where Ketu is coming. If Saturn is there, Saturn will give you trouble. You will be constantly worrying, I don't know who is going to chase me, I don't know who is going to say you've done a bad job, right? You will constantly be behind solving problems. So Saturn gives problems. What does Ketu gives? Ketu gives nothing. You will experience nothingness. Neither good nor bad. Things don't move. Things stand still, right? It is like you are working in a job. People don't even assign you a job. People will not ask you any questions. People don't come and say good or bad about you. How do you feel? Right? It's stillness, nothingness. That is not good for profession. As I said, Ketu is the spiritual planet. So that is the problem, and that is the reason I said October to December, the positiveness will come down. And Jupiter is still in a strong position to help you, but still, because Ketu is touching your 10th house, things can be problematic. You may also experience problem with mother-in-law, because 10th house denotes mother-in-law. Your recognition will come down. Nobody will bother you. Where is the question of recognition? Right? But don't think that things will be really bad or any such thing, because you come out of Saturn, right? With the Jupiter benefic influence, I'm confident that you will be able to handle things, right? Handle things rather well. Okay. So what we have seen thus far is some kind of generic predictions. What we are going to see now is to see an element of specificity in predictions. For that, I am looking at planets that are already there in your 3rd house, right? Why I am taking only 3rd house? Because that is where Saturn is coming. So transit Saturn is going to interact with natal planets. That is planets that are already there in your horoscope. That is planets that are there in the 3rd house when you were born, right? So transit Saturn will engage, interact, mix, combine with natal planets and give some specific results. What are those specific results? That's what we are going to see now. We will start with Jupiter Venus. If, for example, Jupiter Venus is there, that person will experience significant material gain. Significant means what? It's as if the roof of your house opens and the goddess of prosperity, or the angel of prosperity, showers her blessings on you, or showers you with material wealth, showers you with gold coins, right? That's how much material gain you can expect. Also note that Jupiter Venus are very, very strong here, because Venus is very close to its exaltation point and Jupiter is very close to its own house. Planets that are in exaltation are strong, no doubts about it, but planets that are close to exaltation are equally strong. Please note that, right? So Venus is very close to the exaltation. So Venus is super strong already here. Jupiter is super strong already here. So when Saturn comes and touches, you can experience money, right? Now, if Mercury is there in this particular place, Mercury denotes what? Ventures, trade, agency business, export import business. You can get to start or thrive in those areas. At the same time, watch what you speak, because Mercury is the planet of communication. You need to be very careful with what you speak. It is not just what you speak with your mouth, but also digital communication, right? The next one is Saturn. If Saturn itself is here, that is the transit Saturn, right? Plus natal Saturn. That is Saturn that is there at the time of your birth. If natal Saturn is here, can I guess your age? I can guess your age. You are likely to be 30, 60, or 90, or closer to these numbers. How am I saying it? Because it takes 2.5 years for Saturn to cross one house. 12 Rashis, 12 houses are there. So 30. Right? Now Saturn is there, is coming. What can you expect? Change. Significant change. But the changeover process, right? That is from something to something else. That will be very challenging. How will it be challenging? Before it became butterfly, it was insect, no? It is like punarjanma. You have taken new birth, right? Butterfly has taken a new birth. It has shed its insect form. How much tribulations it would have gone through. Yes, it is good change for the butterfly, but it is huge difficulty, right? So the changeover process will be difficult. Be careful in handling it, right? The next one is Rahu, Ketu, Mars. If Rahu, Ketu are Mars, I will also add Sun to this because we are going to see Sun next. If any one or more of these planets are there in your third house at the time of your birth, transit Saturn will work with these planets. It is not a positive thing. If you have such a combination, you may even feel that you have not gotten out of the 7.5 period. You may even feel that the current third house transit is more challenging than the 7.5 period. Why do I say that? Because Saturn considers Sun and Mars as its number one enemy. How will you feel if you are with your number one enemy? You won't feel happy, no? On the other hand, you will be angry, okay, you will feel rage. You may be waiting to take it out, all your emotions on the other, enemy, right? That is how Saturn feels. So it cannot give good results at all. So if Mars is there, you can expect fight, sometimes verbal fights. If Ketu is there, some kind of break, and then you start over, because Ketu is like Mars. Rahu is like Saturn, right? So if Rahu is there, it is double darkness. And what will Rahu do? Rahu will also ensure there is enough confusion in your life because of the darkness. And Rahu will ensure there is no recognition for you. Let's say you are an expert and you are, let's say, 50 years of age. If some 15, 18-year-old guy comes and tells you, you have done such a lousy job, don't you know how to do your job? How do you feel? Right? At the same time, if that small boy comes and tells in front of your important customers, how will you feel? That is Rahu for you, right? So if Sun is there, I said Sun is also not good because it leads to ego clash. Saturn, Sun, right? So this is transit Saturn, this is natal. But you can expect promotion, betterment in your job, right? What is the use of promotion if your boss is someone who will throw his, the office papers at you, shouts in front of others, belittles you, ridicules you? You won't feel good about it, right? That's what can happen when Sun is there. So if Saturn, if Rahu, Ketu, Mars, Sun are there, it is not going to be a period of tranquility. Please note that. As a general prediction, I said Saturn coming to third house is peaceful for Sagittarius and Dhanu Rashi people. But if these planets are there, it is not going to be a period of tranquility. On the other hand, it's going to be a period of turbulence. Please note that. Okay. So if there are no planets here, whatever I covered in the second part of the video is not that much applicable. That's all. Okay. So in all, it's going to be a good year, right? Where you recover things and move forward, right? And I wish you the best of luck and a happy new year to you. Thank you.